Listen, I support our players.
The $32 million a year commish, Roger Goodell.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed.
That dude, Colin Kaepernick.
They walked all over you. No. At the end of the day, I certainly respect your question.
The NFLPA's D. Maurice Smith.
Our NFLPA, the dudes at the top, the leaders, man, that shit all fucking bullshit.
The first thing I talked to the search committee about was the necessity of having a plan.
Y'all want my vote? The Pouncey twins vote no.
There has been a majority from that player pool of roughly 2,500 have voted to pass the CBA. What more can you tell us?
Well, Hannah, here's how close the vote was. The yes votes were 1,019. The no votes were 959.
Football, the sport where players inherit the most risk with the least guarantee of compensation. As I brought to your attention last week, the head of the NFLPA, D. Maurice Smith, didn't even have vision coverage for his players until this CBA. And now, well,
the NFL now gets labor peace for the next 10 years.
The NFL approved this new deal with countless players simply not voting.
It passed by a very slim margin. Odell Beckham Jr., meanwhile, seems upset that players didn't vote. He tweeted 500 plus voices, 500 plus opinions. Hella disappointing. Couldn't even vote on your own future.
In one analyst's eyes, the players lost their poll by caving.
There really wasn't a chance of there being a work stoppage in 2020. They were going to play games this year regardless. When you have leverage and you have time on your side, the smart ones are the ones who try to lock you into long-term deals early and entice you with cash flow immediately because they know they're going to make it back on the backside and they're going to make out. And it sounds like that's exactly what the owners got the players to do.
So here we are. The owners got their way once again, and the players, the capital, the sacrificial lambs, got pennies on the dollar. The NFL gets their wish, more money. They add another game to the NFL schedule, bringing the total to 17. Remember, owners get revenue from tickets, concessions, parking, and more importantly, increased cost of future TV broadcasting deals. This is bigly. In addition, the playoffs are expanded, with only the 1 seed getting a bye. The NFLPA estimates this will generate $150 million. In exchange, players will receive the full prorated value of their contracts, even if it exceeds that amount, plus the preseason now standing at 3 games. The revenue split went up a single percentage, 47 to 48. In comparison, NBA players get as much as 51, the NHL 50, Major League Baseball roughly 50 per Rob Manfred. The biggest win for the players, a 2-week testing for marijuana and reducing the levels of THC when drug tested. That's pretty much it. Eric Reed, a pioneer for players speaking out, outlined how porous a decision this is. His lawyers also represent the exiled quarterback, Colin Kaepernick. He submitted their findings through what else? Twitter, so their analysis can reach the masses. They found disability benefits are greatly reduced. The new terms reduce payments to disabled players, narrow the definition of what disabled means, and create greater offsets that further reduce benefits to players and their families. For example, active football injury, a player becoming permanently disabled during on-the-field activity. In 2011, the CBA would give the player $250K each year. Now, that would be reduced to $48K a year, a $200,000 loss each year to each player who eventually gets these benefits. The value to owners is huge. This provision takes from the most vulnerable former players and leaves them with drastically less resources. This provision takes from those in the current membership who will suffer the most from catastrophic injuries. This is displayed in Article 60 of the ratified CBA. The critiques from current players like Reed, Richard Sherman, Aaron Rodgers, Quandre Diggs, Tyler Lockett, and others is well-founded. Right now, there are disabled players who depend on these checks to support themselves and their families. The proposal specifically and drastically reduces the monthly check that current disabled players are receiving. I can't imagine any offset that would justify taking from our current disabled retirees, and a 48 to 52% economic split the other way isn't enough to look the other way on this moral issue. Colts tight end Eric Ebron said, "Can't believe we agreed to that, LOL. We could only play this game for so long, and y'all didn't want everything we could get out of it. SMFH 2030, y'all do better." The NFLPA moved the goalposts, pushed a vote. agreed to another game without a 50-50 rev split, without guaranteed contracts, without another bye to preserve the health and safety of those risking the most, and having their disability cut. It is a resounding win for the owners and an unfortunate loss for the players, who did not use their leverage wisely and did not cast their vote. Now they wait for the CBA's expiration in 2031.